Welcome to Living English at the Houston Public Library, a 25-lesson language learning program that focuses on how you work, play, and interact with others in your everyday life. Hello, my name is Ryan Bowden from the Houston Public Library. Welcome to Living English at HPL. Before we get started, I just want to tell you that I am not a lawyer or a legal expert, but today we're going to talk about some vocabulary and grammar related to law and your rights. So let's get going. The first thing we have to do is talk about rights. What are your rights? Well, rights are basically a set of legal or social principles and rules. These are things that protect you. Sometimes the word freedoms get thrown around in there as well, but usually when we talk about rights, we're talking about ways that you are protected as an individual, and the law can help with this. So if that's a bit confusing, I encourage you to look it up. There is a lot of information out there about rights here in the United States. So let's get started. So let's start with naturalization. This might be something that some of you are interested in. Naturalization is a process of the process of becoming a citizen, right? So naturalization typically begins with becoming a permanent resident of the United States, which is a legal process by which you are allowed to live and work in this country. Sometimes people who are permanent residents have a green card, like the one that you see up there, to indicate that they are legally allowed to be in the country. Now, after you've become a permanent resident, and you have been so for a few years, you can apply for citizenship, which is a legal status that makes you a part of the United States. When you are a citizen, you are a legal resident, but also you have all the rights and responsibilities of other citizens in the United States. For more information on that, you can consult the USCIS, or United States Citizenship and Immigration Service. They have a lot more information than I do on this process. Now, unfortunately, there also might be some discrimination out there in the world. Discrimination is when people are treated unfairly or differently than other members of a group. So you can see a little image down there. There's one little paper person being left out. This is an unfortunate thing, and it can happen for a variety of reasons, including your legal status, or race, or gender, or ethnicity. So discrimination exists in the world, and unfortunately, that is a nicer version than what it usually looks like. Now, finally, I want to talk about deportation. This is the legal removal of a person from a sovereign state. So here we have someone who is being put onto a plane, it looks like, and being removed from a country. That's unfortunate. Okay, so let's talk about crime. When we talk about law and your rights, crime is a part of that, right? The criminal justice process is a part of that. So you may hear the word warrant thrown around. Warrant is a legal document that is signed by a judge, and it allows the authorities certain access, right? It can be a warrant to arrest someone. It could be a warrant to search property or a residence. So just be aware of that. Warrants, it's a very important thing to understand. I also want to talk about violations. Violation is just breaking the rules, is really what that means. It's a fancy word for breaking the rules. So you could commit a traffic violation where you drive too fast, and you might get pulled over for that. So the police might appear and pull you over for speeding, right? So a violation, breaking the rules. And then down here, these two words are typically used interchangeably, ticket and citation. Ticket is more common, I would say. So if you get pulled over for a traffic violation, you may be issued a traffic ticket or a traffic citation, and you'll have to pay that. Okay, so you have a police officer down there issuing that traffic ticket or traffic citation. So the good thing is that we have something called due process in the United States. So if you are arrested or charged with a crime, or even if you are issued a ticket, you can go through a process to prove your guilt or innocence. So let's say you are arrested. You are taken into custody by the police. So it looks like that person is being arrested by the police. They have been handcuffed. Once you are arrested, you will often be charged with a crime. The charge is what you have been accused of doing. You're told what that is, and you are allowed an attorney, and you can fight against this charge in court. We'll get to court on the next slide, right? So you might be charged with a crime. But just because you are arrested and charged, it does not mean you are guilty. It doesn't mean that you did anything wrong. They just believe that you did. So you could still be innocent, right? To be innocent is to be free of guilt. You have not done anything wrong. Guilty typically means you have done what they said that you did, okay? This is pretty complicated as well, and we have emojis here, but certainly innocence, being free of guilt, to be guilty means you have done what you've been accused of or charged with. So let's go to court. It's the next step in due process. When we get to court, you will have a lawyer or an attorney. A lawyer or an attorney. So that woman right up there, she is the lawyer or the attorney, right? And they make cases before a judge. The judge presides over the court or sits in front of the court and listens to the arguments that are being made. That gentleman right there is the judge. Now there are two different attorneys or sets of attorneys. There's the prosecution, and they try to put people in jail to prove that the criminal or the person accused of the crime has done what they said they did. And then there's the defense attorney, which is the person that will defend you and hopefully help you to avoid going to jail. And then finally, there is a jury. A jury is a group of people who determine your guilt or innocence at trial. All right? So the jury, they listen to the case, they listen to the attorneys, and then they make a decision on guilt or innocence. Very basic explanation of what that is. So right now, I'd like you to take a look at these images and then fill in the blanks in the sentences. I've actually included some words down at the bottom. Arrest, lawyer, charged, and jury are at the bottom there. So take a second and try to fill in the blanks. I've given you the pictures to help out, okay? All right, let's see how we did. The lawyer is arguing his case to the jury. So we see the lawyer right here, and he is speaking to the jury, trying to convince them of something that he is arguing, right? So he's doing his job, and they are listening to what he has to say so they can make a decision. And then down here, what do we got? Usually, if you are placed under arrest, you will be charged with a crime. Absolutely, absolutely. Let's try again. So the new words, citation, discrimination, violation, and rights. Take a moment. Okay, how'd we do? Oh no, I've been pulled over for a traffic violation. I will probably get a citation. Ticket would also work here, right? But I included citation in our words at the bottom. Great job. And then over here, if we respect people's rights, we can stop gender discrimination. So there are many types of discrimination. We talked about that, gender discrimination, one of those, but what we have to do is respect people's rights. Okay, so let's talk about grammar, specifically the past perfect tense. So we're going to talk about it in three different ways today. First, in the positive sense. So the subject plus had plus the past participle. She had completed her citizenship exam. This happened in the past, right? She had done it in the past. How about the negative? It's subject plus had not or hadn't plus the past participle. She had not done anything wrong. She was arrested, but she had not done anything wrong. And then finally, to ask a question, the interrogative. Had plus subject plus the past participle again. Had she been charged with a crime? I don't know. I'm not sure. So, let's keep on going here. When we use this, we typically combine it with the simple past to establish an order of events, right? What do I mean by that? Well, to describe an action that finished before another action in the past. So Helen had already eaten before arriving at the party. So she ate first, then she went to the party. Both of these things happened in the past, right? But the first event used the past perfect, and the second event used the simple past. To describe an action that happened before a specific time in the past, John had never thought about voting before turning 18 years old. So the specific time was his 18th birthday, right? To describe cause and effect, I was issued a ticket because I had been speeding. So I was speeding, right? I had been doing it, and then as a result, I was issued a ticket, cause and effect. And then finally, to emphasize the result of an activity, I had studied for weeks before I passed the test. So I passed this test because I studied so hard. That happened first, and then passing the test happened second. Okay, so let's practice. We have 4 examples up here. I'd like to know which of the events in the sentence happened first, and which of the events in the sentence happened second. All right, take a moment, read through the sentences, and try to figure out which is first and which is second. Go ahead. All right, let's try it out. Number 1, Daira had studied her flashcards before the citizenship interview. Good job, Daira. So the first thing that happened was Daira studies her flashcards. That's what happened first, and we know that because of the past perfect that's up there. And the second event was her citizenship interview. That happened next. Number 2, before receiving citizenship, Edgar was a permanent resident. So Edgar is a permanent resident first. He has to do that first. And then he received his citizenship after going through that naturalization process. Great. 3, until he was given a ticket for speeding yesterday, Roberto had never been pulled over. He had never been pulled over, that's first, but then he got a speeding ticket. Poor Roberto. And then finally, the jury came to a decision after the lawyers had made their arguments. The lawyers made their arguments first, and then the jury comes to a decision after they listened to those arguments. Okay, well, I hope you got all of those right. Go back and try again if you didn't. Thank you so much for watching. We hope to see you back here again soon. Bye for now.